Hey, so a while ago I put a post out asking for what kind of video content would you like to see on the page, and there were some really good ideas, especially from Lorraine over on Instagram. Now, Lorraine has spent a lot of time working with physiotherapists and personal trainers, and she's asked for some help with two exercises: bridges and clams. Lorraine thinks that she's not getting as much out of them as she kind of wants to be, and she hasn't seen that much progress while doing them, and I completely agree. I'm not a huge fan of either exercise, simply because they don't really transfer very well to everyday life. You're already tired, you're already in a lot of pain. So for me, working with people in chronic pain and with lots of fatigue, we want to be doing the exercises that we're going to get the most kind of bang for our buck. We want to be efficient at it. We don't want to be kind of wasting energy and wasting time ultimately. So with the bridges, it's a nice exercise in theory. Don't get me wrong, it will have helped a lot of people over the years, but there'll also be a lot of people who it hasn't helped. Same goes for clams. Now for bridges, like I say, it's a good idea. We're using our glute max to go into hip extension and hip flexion, and you know what I mean, we're using a function that we use a lot. However, 60% of the time that you spend walking is on one leg. So if we want to get better at moving, we should be training for things like one-legged hip extension. However, if you're doing bridges on the floor, you take away, not completely, but you take gravity kind of out of the equation. There's not as much proprioception going on, you're not really using balance as much, and it's not really how we move. So there's a few modifications I want to show you that will help and hopefully be able to get you, especially you Lorraine, where you want to be. Now with clams, this is probably one of my biggest bugbears. Again, they'll have helped a lot of people, but they'll have also not helped a lot of people, because again, no transferability to everyday life. It's a good exercise in theory. You're lying on the floor, you're abducting your legs, and you're working your glute med. And we need that glute med when we walk, because as we strike down with the right foot, the right side contracts and it pulls the left hip up, keeps us nice and level. As we strike the floor, then that side lets go, other side engages, and we've got a nice stable pelvis as we walk. However, doing clams on the floor, again, it takes away any kind of feedback, any kind of biofeedback. Proprioception goes out the window, and unless you've really got a good mind to muscle connection, you're more than likely going to hyperextend your back, or you're not going to do them properly. So as well, it's also training the kind of secondary function, abduction. We don't really want that. We want gravity compressing us, and we want to be training how we actually move. So let's show you some things that you can do at home that will hopefully transfer a bit better to how we move as human beings. Let's go. Okay, so instead of bridges, I would have my clients doing one-legged hip extension. Now you can spend a lot of money on unnecessary stuff that you don't need, like slide boards for this, which are going to cost you around £30, or you could invest £1.50 on a frisbee. Improvise, adapt and overcome. Or you could simply not use anything and just rely on your feet. So what you're going to do is stand up nice and tall. You're going to draw your belly button in about 10%, lift your sternum up, and so we'll focus on the left leg. You're going to step forward, let your body weight go forward. Okay, so you see my knee is just in front of my toe. You're then going to squeeze your left bum cheek till you get nice and tall. Then you're going to step out again, squeeze your left bum cheek, and repeat. That's literally it. Again, it's moving how we're supposed to move. Obviously, you're not walking around dragging your foot along the floor, but you are spending a lot of time doing one-legged hip extension. So if you do have a frisbee lying about, might be a few people who do, you can simply step inside the frisbee, get nice and tall, step out, squeeze that right bum, come up, step out again, squeeze that right bum. Now, you can modify it, you can get a little bit deeper. So, stood up, nice and deep, squeeze that bum, coming up. Or if you're hypermobile and you're prone to a lot of subluxations, you can reduce the range of motion down a lot. So you could simply do that. Try and get that mind to muscle connection. So when you do it, make sure you're really squeezing it. So Very, very simple exercise that you can do that hopefully will help you, especially you, Lorraine, to get where you want to be. So, when you are doing this, make sure that you are moving from the center of your body. So if you imagine the closer to your body is zone 1, as we travel out, zone 2, and as we hit the extremity, zone 3. Same for your legs. If you're in this position, I want you using your bum as the bum squeezes and puts you into hip extension. It's the bum that ultimately brings up zone 2, your chest, and it's your chest that ultimately brings up zone 3, your head. What you're not doing is lifting your chest first, then using your bum. So from going zone 2, zone 3, then zone 1. So everything starts from the center of your body. It ripples up, ripples down. So, simple new exercise, I suppose. Hopefully that will help you. Now, let's modify the clams. So, if clams aren't helping you, why not try these? You don't need a band for this, however, I prefer it because it forces you to use your adductors a little bit more, which ultimately makes it a lot harder for your abduction muscles. As again, you're also fighting your own balance and you're training proprioception, so we get a lot more bang for your buck. So if you do have a physio band lying about the house, use it, tie it in a knot, stick it on a door handle, make sure nobody's likely to come in because you don't want to end up on the floor, but step inside it. And you want to make sure that the band is pulling you straight out. If you're not using a band, ignore this bit. So, you want to put the band around your hips, okay? And you want to take a little step out. So, the band is pulling me to the right. So, if I relax, my hips go that way. So, what I want you to do is, whichever side the band is on, if you're not using a band, we'll use the right leg. Okay? So, for me, the band is pulling me to the right. I'm going to stand on my right leg. So start loading that right leg with weight, and I want you to lift the left leg up. Okay, so what I'm not doing is I'm not bending my leg, alright, making it easier for me to cheat. Both legs are nice and straight, both feet are facing forward, and I'm lifting the left leg up. Now, this is the important bit. If you're a little bit wobbly, you can use the big toe of the foot you stood on. So for me, it's my right foot. And you can push it into the floor. It'll help to pull the arches of your feet up a little bit better. And it'll give you a bit more balance. Now, if you've been stood here for about 10-15 seconds, you'll more than likely feel a nice little burning sensation right here on the side we're stood on. Okay? So, what I want you to do now is with this left leg, we're going to go out slightly. We're then going to go back. Bring it in. And repeat the whole time the leg is not touching the floor. Also note that as I'm going backwards and forwards, alright, I'm not doing this, I'm not tilting my pelvis forward, my belly is tight, my sternum's up, and it's just the leg moving. Okay? So although we're using the left leg to move, it's actually the right leg that we're training. And if you've been following along with me now, you'll more than likely know what I feel, because it burns a lot. So, that's a very, very simple exercise you can do either with a very cheap physiotherapy band, TheraBand, whatever you want to call them, or ultimately without a band, stood up straight. Like that. Obviously the band's going to be a bit more challenging and you're going to get more bang for your buck. So, it's up to you guys. But I hope you found this helpful. If you have, feel free to subscribe, like, comment. If you've got any other ideas for things that you'd preferably like to see on the page, let me know. See you later.